forward to this chat. I'm just gonna shout out everybody who comes through and just leaves a comment before we start. I'm gonna give it a couple minutes for everybody to come in. Shout out to Ivory 10. Shout out to Keith Watkins, who's giving meetings for the ATL. And here we go. Going live. Good evening and welcome to the NBA Economy Show. If you're a Knicks fan, we certainly have something to talk about. Not just waiting for the next preseason game. We're talking about trades. This is a big thing about this channel is about trades. And this summer we did hear some thoughts of people saying, hey, this is the time that Giannis could move. Giannis can leave the Bucks, he's won a well-earned championship, to go somewhere else to win. We saw this summer the Bucks had a daunting challenge. They had a bare roster. They looking like they were going to be over the second apron again. Looks like their back was against the wall. And so those rumblings of Giannis may want to ask out not just next summer, but this summer started to appear. You can see just from the roster, with Lillard being out and going to miss most of the year, if not the whole year, that it didn't look very good. They looked like if they were a play-in team, that would have been a good year. And that's a sad place to be in, but that's where it was. So you could have just imagined what Giannis could have been thinking early in this process of this summer, from the draft on. Like, I would say that the Milwaukee Bucks had the most miraculous summer I've seen. I really like Leon Rose and when he's done with the Knicks, but it's nothing compared to what the Bucks did. Like, basically all minimum deals. They made a decent roster, and getting players who've been bought out to get them to come over to play with Giannis. Milwaukee is not a big city. Milwaukee is not one of those places, hey, I want to go live there or I want to go play there. So just getting that done was huge. So we saw a tweet from Shams Charania this morning talking about the Knicks and the Bucks did discuss a deal this summer. I think a lot of people jumped and said, hey, it's inevitable that Giannis in New York will make this happen. I don't think it's inevitable. Like you saw this summer, we thought Giannis wanted to come to New York. And if he wanted to come to New York, we thought maybe even the Nets were an option. Because before the draft, the Nets had a lot of assets, a lot of top picks, and one of the things being floated out is, hey, they can use some of these picks, and they can actually try to go out and get talent, and then at the end get Giannis and put a team together. But that's not the direction Brooklyn went. So when we talk about New York, we're talking just the Knicks. And Knicks are a very competent team the last few years. Very serious team. They're really building a winner. Okay, so what happened this summer? And uh, and what could have the Knicks offered the Milwaukee Bucks? I think the timing is important. If you look down here, it shows Mikal Bridges signed a 4-year, 150 million contract. The date August 1st. So there's talking about the Knicks and Bucks were discussing in August trades. So the first thing you have to say is if it's after August 1st, Mikal Bridges wasn't in those deals. They couldn't have offered Mikal Bridges because he signed an extension and he's not eligible to be traded. So, not a lot of other deals you think could be done. Um, Also, misconception from a lot of people. Um, a third team needs to be included. Not necessarily. At that point, Dame was already bought out, and the Shams article has said that Milwaukee went ahead and traded Dame without Giannis's approval. Basically, they didn't want to talk to Giannis. I'm just speculation, but it's kind of obvious what they were doing. They didn't want to talk to Giannis with their back against the wall, with a whole bunch of roster spots, and all they had was a broken Lillard, um, not only a broken Lillard, Kuzma, Bobby Portis, and a whole bunch of roster spots. Like that would if they would have talked to him then, like I think he would like get me out of here because I really wouldn't think they pulled off what they pulled off. So basically, they pulled off the Lillard trade. Now they're below the second apron. Now they're able to do signings. That's when they did that Miles Turner deal. Re-signed Bobby Portis. Um, did a lot of 1-year deals, or deals that may not be there next year. So let's look in. We can kind of look at this cap sheet. So next year, so Kevin Porter, basically expiring deal. Um, Gary Harris, basically an expiring deal. Torian Prince, basically an expiring deal. Jericho Sims, basically expiring deal. AJ Green, basically expiring deal. They don't have a lot to look forward to past this year. They pulled off a miracle this year. All these guys signed up for the same reason. Let's play with Giannis. And let's play with Giannis. Maybe we can win a championship. Maybe I can build some value. And then I can sign next year for more money. Next year, these guys will not get more money from the Milwaukee Bucks. Um, they can try to get from the Milwaukee Bucks, but if Giannis isn't committed, the winning part is out. So it's not a good look. Even though they pulled off a miracle this summer, it's still not a good look because this is they didn't make a new road to winning. It was a temporary fix to a long-term problem. They need picks. They need things that they basically are going to have to tear the team down to get. So, when it comes to the Knicks, what did they discuss this summer? Um, let's kind of look in the trade machine, and we know Mikal Bridges was signed, most likely they were talking Karl Anthony Towns plus young players, assets like um, such as the Washington protected pick. And what I've seen from a lot of online people is that, oh no, the Knicks got a whole bunch of swaps they can offer. A swap is only good if the other team is better than you. So Milwaukee swapping with the Knicks doesn't help Milwaukee. So offering them 4 swaps doesn't help Milwaukee in the slightest. If the Knicks are going to be the better team, if the Knicks are going to have the lower pick, it doesn't help them at all. So what were they offering? Karl Anthony Towns, young players, and probably the Washington first, and um, maybe a swap in there somewhere. So that wasn't a lot, but it is something. Um, is that the only thing they could have offered? No. They could have offered OG, maybe Mitchell Robinson, some young players and picks. That's decent, but that's nothing to reset a franchise. And what Milwaukee needs is a reset. They need a big haul. A big haul, one of those trades, just like when they traded, traded for Drew Holiday, that traded trade, heavy picks, um, a decent player, things you can build on. They need building materials, because you see next year these guys can be gone. So they need like young guys, and they need something to keep the fans interested. So is Cat that guy? Um, Cat's value is recuperated from where it was last year. It was a lot lower last year. Um, he's better, but I think they wanted more. Why they couldn't get a trade done? New York says that they weren't serious. So New York probably says, I put my best, some really good deals on the table, but they wouldn't bite. They talk exclusively 4 weeks. So this isn't them going back and forth, comparing with other teams, talking directly to the Knicks. That is supposed to be serious. Like, that is serious trade talk. When you're talking to one team and one team only. But they still couldn't get it done. I'm pretty sure the Knicks are upset. Are are the Knicks upset enough that they put this out here? No. I don't think the Knicks leaked this. I think this is probably leaked by Giannis. And the only person who's incentivized from leaking this is Giannis. Also, parts of what was said in the article sounds like Giannis's people. Like, they talk about things that the Knicks wouldn't know. Um, it seems like Giannis maybe isn't giving up on the idea of coming to the Knicks. And since we're talking about the period after Mikal got traded, after Mikal signed his extension, all those pieces that the Knicks offered are still on the board. So probably what you're talking about is Giannis is like, I still want to go there, and the pieces to make me go there are still there. What can make it happen? Giannis can't be the good guy, and Giannis has always kind of been the good guy in all this. Times he's said, "Hey, I need you to win. I'm here until I win," but He's never put his foot down. And I think he'll have to pull an AD or pull you know, really put his foot down, really cause a stir to make this happen. Um, I think this may be the first step in his people try to reignite talks. I don't know how the cat would feel about this because he's kind of squarely in the front of there. I just want to just talk to the chat real quick. Salute Ivory 10, Keith Watkins, Just Nicks Randu, Danny Landis says whatever it takes. He's a difference maker. Um, I think a lot of people are there. I think the Knicks want him bad. They've always wanted him. The problem is Milwaukee knows the Knicks have more available to them next summer than they have now. Like now, you might get you a Pacome Dadier, you might get you a Tyler Kolek, um, you know, Diawara isn't signed. You might get you a Diawara. Um, Washington's protected first, which may just be 2 seconds. So you're looking at the Knicks giving up another All-Star and a bunch of just young kids and a couple second round picks to get your superstar. The guy who like the whole city's financial livelihood is on. And then you have to find a star. Cat isn't that guy. Like Cat is a star, but you need, like a star rookie or somebody you could say, hey, we're bad now, but like, hey, if you stick in there, yeah, we'll be good in a few years. But that's not where we're at. The thing about the Knicks this summer is they gain more assets. So the Knicks actually have a pick this summer. So if the Knicks go into this summer, they can say, hey, I have a first round pick. And, whoever picked 20 something. And I got an actual asset in from Washington. It's a long shot that it's a first round pick, but say it's a first round pick. If not, hey, I got 2 high seconds from Washington. You can have that. Not only that, you're a year longer, so you have another first round pick available to you down the line. So instead of Karl-Anthony Towns and a bunch of young kids, you can offer Karl-Anthony Towns, a bunch of young kids, and possibly 2 first round picks, or possibly 3 first round picks, or 2 first round picks and 2 high seconds. You add some more seconds. You see, I think they'd rather have that than this. But I think it's up to Giannis and his people to push them to say, hey, you can't wait till next summer. And the only thing that can make them say, hey, we can't wait till that summer is I'll sit out or I'll cause a stink that you just don't want me around. That's kind of what's on the table. Do I think the Knicks want to trade Karl-Anthony Towns? No, they're happy with Karl-Anthony Towns. In fact, I think when it came down to it, I think they were probably trying to trade OG. OG, Mitchell Robinson, for me, makes sense. And I know a lot of people are going to be upset. OG is a guy that every team wants. Mitchell Robinson is elite at a skill. But the thing is, you could play Karl-Anthony Towns and Giannis together. And you could say Karl-Anthony Towns and Giannis together is better than OG in Giannis. You still have Mikal Bridges, and he's locked up for multiple years. You have locked up multiple years as your like premier wing. So I think either one would work. I think if I'm the Knicks and they can reignite these talks, it's basically whatever you want. It's basically whatever you want. And I think whatever you want may be a lot more hazardous for the Knicks than I think most people realize. Um, I think it's giving up OG. I think it's giving up Mitchell Robinson. I think it's putting things together that you end up with Giannis and you take Kuzma off their hands. I think it's going to be more than, hey, give us something. Take something that we don't want off our hands. And I know a lot of people don't want Kuzma, but if you had to take those $20 million of Kuzma, I'd probably still do it if they did it now. If they did it now, I'd do it. Um, is it anybody else have any thoughts on what's going on? Um, yeah, I know a lot of people are upset with me because I can't stop talking about Mitchell Robinson being traded. Like until I hear the Knicks are gonna wait or they're mutually agreeing to wait till next summer, I'm gonna say um, something may happen at that point. Um, this is not the only chat we're gonna have about this Giannis trade tonight. Um, check out the Nick of Time show. I hope to be on the Nick of Time show. I am sure this is going to be a fiery chat because I this summer I talked about Giannis, and I think a lot of people didn't like what I had to say, because I think a lot of people were talking about the Karl Anthony Towns swap, and I was talking about OG, and 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 Mitch and young players, because I think that is probably more attractive, and in the end leaves us with a more dominant lineup. Even though OG Anunoby is a wonderful defender, um, but it's about dominating the East, and I think having those two players, you can dominate the East. All right, so I did want to bring up a few. So this is the type of things I've seen online. What was it Basketball Forever talks about trading Giannis for Karl Anthony Towns, Tyler Kolek, basically the protected pick, and this year's pick, and 31st first round pick. I think they're talking about swaps because this can't be done right now. If these are swaps, it can be done. But if Milwaukee's worse than us, why do they want to swap with us? Because it's actually nothing. So 2026, we know we're going to be better than the Bucks. A swap doesn't help. Um, all right, so let's go to the trade machine. I just want to kind of just play with the trade machine and just we'll go through Giannis. What I think are most. I think this trade has, even in the middle of the year, is more likely than now. Because we just got these young guys. I mean, Yabusele, we know isn't coming back next year. Jordan Clarkson may not be back next year. Um, so would it bother you if the Knicks wait till December 15th and was like, hey, we can do that Giannis trade. We'll give you Yabusele. Yabusele, we don't have money to re-sign Yabusele, but next year the Bucks do. So maybe getting Yabusele in the building may be something they'd like, or getting Jordan Clarkson now and then this summer, taking him for longer. Maybe trying to make a team that could just make the playoffs, giving the fans something. But the trade deal that I think is most likely, if the Knicks did it now, I mean, the Knicks would have to like gut the team. Let's see, that would be tough. Bacone, Mitch, and OG Anunoby. OG Anunoby, Mitchell Robinson, Bacome Dadier, and the 2026 Washington pick, and probably all the seconds you can muster. So probably another 4 seconds. That would probably be what it would take. And that would be Giannis putting his foot down. That's Giannis like saying he'd be willing to sit rather than play. Um, the problem with this trade, it has roster spots. So actually, Bacone would be tough. Bacone would be real rough. Two roster spots. Yeah, it would take a lot of work because it would take follow-up trades just to make sure we reach the minimum roster depth. But that's an idea of what we're talking about. OG, Mitch, and someone else for and picks for Giannis. I'd like to just thank everybody for just joining me. Um, I'm gonna do more research. Um, this would have been so much easier um, if the Knicks talked to Milwaukee before Mikal Bridges signed. There would have been so many other scenarios that could have happened, but since they waited till Mikal signed, there's less there's less scenarios that can happen. But I'd like to thank everybody for joining. Um, we're gonna keep talking about Knicks content. Not only that, we're gonna start talking about other teams. Um, the first cuts from camp haven't happened. I'm expecting that in the next few days. Maybe after our third game, we start seeing some people sent home, and we could start talking about that. But tonight, I do encourage everybody join the Nick of Time show, be in the chat. I will be there. I will probably do more research so I can actually talk more clearly about what's going on with Giannis. I don't think it's a dead deal. I don't think they're just talking in the past. Um, I think this was something in the past, and the only reason it came back out is somebody wants to reignite talks. Uh, yeah, I'd like to thank everybody. Please like and subscribe. I do have a little Cash App thing there. Yeah, we will have more things happening in the future. I will talk to y'all later. Good night.